You won't believe what's been going on with Barack and Michelle Obama. Lately, the internet's been buzzing for weeks, and it all started with a video that's now gone viral. At first glance, it looks like a simple night out for the Obamas, right? They were spotted enjoying a date night at Osteria Mozza, a trendy restaurant in Washington, D.C., surrounded by fans, flashing cameras, and plenty of applause. The couple, always so adored by the public, walked down the stairs together. They raised their hands to acknowledge the cheers, looking like the picture-perfect pair. Barack even paused to shake hands with the restaurant staff, adding to the warm, welcoming scene. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of this being the happy ending to the rumors, it actually fueled them even more. You'd think this would put any speculation to rest, but that's far from what happened. The video, instead of being seen as a sweet moment, sparked a whole new round of questions. Putting on a show for whoever cares, one user on X, formerly Twitter, said. Sounds like a photo op to me, another person added. And it didn't stop there. Some viewers even pointed out something strange. It wasn't about what was happening on the outside, but how the Obamas seemed to act toward each other. People were quick to notice how distant they seemed. One TikTok user joked, "I thought Barack was her bodyguard at first." People couldn't help but wonder, were they just going through the motions? Was this a staged appearance just to keep the rumors at bay? But the story doesn't end here. As soon as that footage made its way around the internet, things took another unexpected turn. Just as the video went viral, new photos began to surface. These photos show Sasha and Malia Obama, the Obama daughters, out on Easter without their parents. And you know what that did? It set off a whole new wave of speculation. People started to question the state of the Obama family. Why weren't they all together on such an important holiday? Where was Michelle? Where was Barack? Seeing their daughters enjoying the holiday without them only made the divorce rumors grow louder. People couldn't stop talking about it, and every little thing seemed to fuel the fire. What made this even more interesting was that these rumors didn't just pop up out of nowhere. The Obamas had been facing questions about their relationship for months. Before the viral video, there were already whispers. The couple hadn't been seen together at some high-profile events, and people noticed. Even after Barack posted a sweet tribute to Michelle on her birthday, sharing a photo of them holding hands across a restaurant table, the questions kept coming. Was this just a carefully crafted public image, or was something deeper going on behind closed doors? People kept asking, why weren't they seen together at these major events anymore? Why were they so separate? And why was it always just a glimpse of their lives? Nothing too personal, nothing too real? But things weren't about to calm down anytime soon. What came next only added more fuel to the fire. The situation was beginning to spiral, and every new moment made it harder to separate fact from fiction. You'd think the Obamas could handle these rumors, but the more they tried to quiet them, the louder they got, and the more public displays they made, the more the public seemed to dig into their private lives. And trust me, it's only about to get crazier. As the viral video of Barack and Michelle Obama's date night continued to make waves online, the speculation surrounding their relationship only grew more intense. Despite their public display of affection, with the applause and the handshakes, something felt off to many viewers. They were trying so hard to show they were just like any other couple out for dinner. But that very effort only made people dig deeper. It's all a show, many believed. They couldn't help but wonder if the Obamas were simply trying to keep up appearances, or worse, if their marriage was falling apart behind the scenes. But here's where it gets really wild. This wasn't the first time something like this happened. What really took people by surprise was the timing of everything. Right after that viral video, more images started circulating. Images of Sasha and Malia Obama, the Obama daughters, out in public, but this time without their parents. They were seen spending Easter without Barack and Michelle, and that immediately raised more red flags. You know how the internet works. People latch onto anything that can confirm their theories, And when they saw those pictures, it was like fuel to an already blazing fire. Where are Michelle and Barack? They wondered. Some even questioned whether their absence on such a major family holiday meant that there was trouble in the Obama household. Now, for those paying close attention, the Obamas hadn't exactly been showing up together at high-profile events lately. Sure, there was that loving birthday tribute Barack shared for Michelle, where he posted a picture of them holding hands across a dinner table. It seemed like a beautiful gesture, and for a moment, it seemed like the rumors might quiet down. But even then, people were asking, why weren't they seen together at any of the big public events? Were they just too busy, or was there more to the story? People couldn't ignore the fact that, despite this lovely gesture, the Obamas had been noticeably absent from certain places they'd usually be together. And that's when it really hit home for some. Could the rumors be true after all? Then, just when you thought it couldn't get any stranger, more events began to unfold. It wasn't just the video or the Easter pictures, no. This time it was something much bigger. The internet was abuzz, and the chatter reached a fever pitch when Barack Obama attended a Los Angeles Clippers game in early March. What's so unusual about that, you ask? Well, the fact that he was there alone, without Michelle. It's as if this one small detail set off a chain reaction of debate and rumors. People started connecting the dots, and before long, the whispers grew louder. If they were really okay, why wasn't Michelle with him? Some pointed out that she's never really been into basketball games, but that didn't stop the rumors from spiraling out of control. To some, it was yet another sign that the Obamas were headed for divorce. And it wasn't just the basketball game that set people off. The constant, nonstop speculation was beginning to wear on everyone. The media, the fans, even the casual followers, everyone had an opinion and everyone was weighing in. Some were ready to call it the Obamas were over. Others tried to defend them, pointing out that sometimes couples just have different interests. But the longer the rumors persisted, the more it felt like it was only a matter of time before the truth would come out. Was this a sign of a deeper issue, or were people just looking for something that wasn't there? The question was on everyone's mind, and it wasn't going away anytime soon. Now, here's the kicker. The Obamas weren't just sitting back and letting the rumors run wild. No, they weren't about to let this go without a fight. And that's exactly what happened next. Michelle Obama, who had been relatively quiet about the whole thing, finally addressed the growing speculation. During an appearance on the Work in Progress podcast in early April, she spoke openly about the pressure she'd been feeling. She said something that really caught people off guard. She explained how this year, people couldn't seem to accept that she was making choices for herself. They assumed that because I was doing things for me, that meant Barack and I were falling apart, she said. And there it was, the truth that many people weren't willing to see. Could it be that the constant scrutiny of their marriage had created a narrative that wasn't even true? Maybe people had been looking in the wrong places all along. Michelle's words were a wake-up call, but still, the rumors didn't stop. It was clear that the more they tried to push back, the more the public demanded answers. Every move they made was scrutinized. Every post, every appearance, and every event they attended, or didn't attend, became part of the conversation. As the drama continued to unfold, the internet's obsession with the Obamas' marriage reached new heights. The more Michelle and Barack tried to squash the rumors, the more they seemed to fuel the fire. One would think that after Michelle spoke out on the podcast, things might settle down. After all, she had addressed the speculation directly. She even made it clear that the choices she was making for herself were not signs of trouble in her marriage. But the truth was that only made people more curious. It was like watching a reality TV show unfold in real time. And everyone was hanging on to every word, every detail. But wait, here's where it gets even more intense. Just when it seemed like the Obamas might be taking a step back from the spotlight, things got even more complicated. In March, Barack Obama made headlines again, but this time for something that felt even more telling. He was spotted attending a Los Angeles Clippers game completely alone, without Michelle by his side. Now, it's not like Michelle had to be there. She never had much interest in basketball to begin with. But people couldn't help but wonder, was this a sign of something deeper? Could there be more going on than they were letting on? Some critics saw this as proof that their marriage was crumbling, while others pointed out that Michelle had other priorities and interests, but the damage was already done. The fact that Barack was seen out alone just added to the narrative that their relationship was in trouble. And it wasn't just this one incident. Over the course of the next few weeks, people kept noticing more and more subtle signs that seemed to support the theory that something was off. No, it wasn't just about missing public appearances or the occasional solo outing. It was the small things, like the fact that they didn't seem to be as openly affectionate with each other in public anymore. Social media was full of posts and comments from people who noticed these little details. Some even started to claim that their relationship was just a show, a carefully crafted image put together for the public eye. Could it be true? Was everything we saw, the smiles, the hand-holding, the affectionate moments, just part of a grand performance? But here's the twist. Despite all of this, there were still those who believed that the Obamas were solid, that their love was real and strong. For some, the idea that the couple could be on the verge of a split was simply unbelievable. They pointed to past moments of unity, Barack's tribute to Michelle on her birthday, their appearances together at major events, and said, "This is just a rough patch. They'll make it through." But even those who defended them couldn't deny that something had shifted. There was an undeniable tension in the air, and people were trying to figure out whether it was just the result of the media circus or if there was something deeper going on. Here's where it gets even more twisted. As much as Michelle and Barack tried to address the rumors, they couldn't escape the fact that the public had already decided. The more they tried to push back, the more people seemed to buy into the idea that there was trouble brewing. It's like they were trapped in this cycle where every attempt to prove their relationship was fine only made people more convinced that something was wrong. But there was one more thing that really changed the game. One key moment really turned everything on its head. That moment came in early April when Michelle appeared on the podcast, and she spoke so candidly about the pressure she had been under. Her words were powerful, and they struck a chord with many who had been following the story closely. She talked about how people just couldn't seem to accept that she was doing things for herself and how they jumped to conclusions about her marriage. They assumed because I'm choosing to focus on my own projects, it must mean we're having problems, she said. And for the first time, Michelle seemed to challenge the narrative that had been playing out. She wasn't just defending her marriage, she was defending her autonomy, her right to pursue her own goals without the constant scrutiny. It was like a wake-up call to everyone who had been speculating for months. This was the moment when the whole story started to shift. No longer was it just about the rumors, it was about the pressures of living under a microscope. Michelle's words made it clear. The public's obsession with their marriage had taken on a life of its own, and it was no longer about the truth, it was about the narrative people wanted to believe. And that's when the question changed from, is their marriage over, to, why does the public care so much? But here's where it really gets mind-blowing. Even though Michelle had pushed back against the rumors, and even though she had clarified her stance, the obsession didn't stop. If anything, it grew more intense. As the world continued to watch the Obamas, the tension surrounding their marriage reached new levels. No matter how much Michelle tried to set the record straight, the rumors persisted and they didn't show any signs of slowing down. The question on everyone's mind remained, was this just a rough patch, or was the couple truly on the brink of a breakup? Each new piece of information, every little action, seemed to add another layer to the already complex web of speculation. What made this story so captivating was not just the potential end of a famous marriage, it was the way the public couldn't let go of it. They were consumed by it. But here's where things took a surprising turn. The more Michelle and Barack tried to explain themselves, the more people seemed to misinterpret their actions. It wasn't just about the missing appearances or the solo outings. It was the media frenzy that surrounded them at every turn. The public wanted answers, and it seemed like no matter what the Obamas did, they were never going to get the peace they needed. Every post they made, every public appearance was under a magnifying glass. It wasn't just about the truth anymore. It was about the story people had already written, and that story didn't want to change. And here's where the real shocker lies. No matter how much the Obamas tried to quiet the noise, they were caught in a trap of their own making. The more they responded, the more they played into the narrative that they were hiding something. Even Michelle's heartfelt statements couldn't prevent the growing conspiracy that their relationship was faltering. The public had already decided what was going on, and no amount of clarification seemed to change that. In a way, the Obamas had become prisoners of their own public image. The more they showed, the more people demanded. And the more they tried to maintain control over their narrative, the further it seemed to slip out of their grasp. The craziest part, people were so determined to believe in the idea of a failing marriage that they couldn't even see the bigger picture. They were focused on the wrong things, on the small, seemingly insignificant details, while ignoring the larger reality that Michelle and Barack were navigating the pressures of public life in a way that few could understand. They were expected to be perfect to fit into the mold that the public had created for them. And when they didn't, when they took moments for themselves, when they showed the slightest sign of being human, it was twisted into something else. But there's one thing that stood out through all of this: the Obamas' unwavering commitment to each other. Despite all the rumors, despite the endless scrutiny, they never fully bowed to the pressure. Yes, they made attempts to clarify the situation, but they also made it clear that their relationship was their own. They didn't owe the world an explanation. And even when the story seemed to spin out of control, they stuck together, navigating the storm of public opinion with grace. The truth is, no matter how many rumors surfaced, no matter how many times the media tried to tear them apart, Michelle and Barack Obama weren't about to let anyone dictate the terms of their marriage. And that, my friends, is the heart of the story. The public's obsession with their relationship isn't just about their marriage. It's about our need for answers, for something tangible to hold on to in a world that's full of uncertainty. The Obamas' story became a mirror for society's obsession with celebrity, with perfect relationships, and with the constant pressure to be flawless in the eyes of the public. But what makes this story different? What makes it so intriguing is that despite all the chaos and speculation, the Obamas continue to live their lives on their terms. No amount of public opinion can change that. So, what's next? Will the rumors finally die down? Or is this just the beginning of an ongoing saga that will continue to keep everyone guessing? One thing's for sure, this isn't just a celebrity marriage. This is a story that speaks to something deeper about how we view relationships, fame, and the truth. And as for Michelle and Barack, well, they've made it clear that they're not playing by anyone else's rules. Whether the public believes them or not, they're writing their own story. And that, in the end, might be the most shocking twist of all.